By a show of hands, how many of you volunteer to help people in need?
Currently, or
Almost, almost everyone. When you volunteer to help people in need, have you ever asked yourself, am I really helping these people? Or am I making them more dependent on the assistance they're receiving? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I like to volunteer at the André House soup kitchen, where I prepare meals for people in need. During one dinner service, 30 volunteers like me serve 500 to 700 meals. The André House is in downtown Phoenix at Jackson and 11. From here, it's a 25-minute drive, but it's a completely different world. It's in a very tough neighborhood, and when you get within a couple of blocks, you start seeing a lot of people on the street and on the sidewalks. Many of these people are carrying their things in grocery bags, or they're carrying suitcases, or they're pushing a cart. After you check in, the coordinator assigns you to the chopping, where you will cut fruits and vegetables. Unfortunately, many of these people are missing teeth, so the food has to be soft. At first, I went with my family to volunteer at the soup kitchen. But over time, my kids grew up and moved away. Now my wife and I go with friends. Some of the friends we go with are the Norgoods, Jill, and in the back there, Clark. When you go with your friends, you learn things about them. And one of the things I learned about Clark is that he has OCK SS, obsessive compulsive knife sharpening syndrome. You see, when we start cutting the fruits and vegetables, Clark will say, "You couldn't even cut butter with this knife!" And he runs off to get the knife sharpener. The entire time we are cutting the fruits and vegetables, Clark is honing everybody's knife. The next time I go to the Honor House with Clark, I'm going to bring some Band-Aids, because those next set of volunteers after me are not expecting those knives to be that sharp. After the meal prep is done, all the volunteers gather in a large circle, and the coordinator announces the next job assignments. Tracy, serving food, line 1. Bob, serving food, line 2. Betty, serving food, line 3. Jill and Maria, serving water. Matt and Gary, dishwasher. And finally, the last job assignment. Clark, the pit. Now the pit isn't even in the André House. It's outside, next to the building. Perfect when it's 118 degrees outside. It's a large cement basin with a drain in the middle. This is where you pre-wash the dirty dishes with a garden hose and a dish scrubber. The worst pots, or the worst dishes to clean, are the big 30-gallon pots that they make the spaghetti or the chili. When they cook with these pots, they gotta crank up the heat. And when they crank up the heat, there's a thin layer of super cooked food on the bottom of these pots. After the coordinator announces all the job assignments, he says a few words and then leads us in prayer. During prayer, all the volunteers silently give thanks for not being assigned the pit. The last time I was at the André House, after the coordinator announced all the job assignments, he introduced us to someone. She was training to be a coordinator. She spoke and she said that she used to be on the other side. Instead of preparing the meals, she was receiving the meals. I talked with Debbie later, and she said that when she was younger, she struggled with depression. She had a job at one point, but she lost it. She had to move in with her mom and her mom's new husband. She tried to find a job, but couldn't. And after a while, her mom and her mom's new husband kicked her out. Eventually, Debbie was living at the Women's Emergency Shelter. And one day when she was living at the shelter, the executive director for the André House came and told her about the André House's transitional housing. Transitional housing is for those people that are transitioning from homelessness to stability, stable employment and stable housing. Transitional housing guests aren't expected to pay for anything. They're encouraged to save their money. They either have to be working or actively seeking employment. And they have to be clean and sober. Debbie moved into this transitional housing, and this is where she ate meals prepared by the André House. 8 months after living in the transitional house, Debbie had saved enough money and had a stable job that she moved out. But she kept in contact with the André House staff, especially at Thanksgiving and Christmas. 2 years later, she started volunteering at the André House, handing out clothing. Over time, she got more and more involved until finally she quit her job and accepted a full-time paid position as an André House core staff member. Debbie's underlying goal is that she wants to be there for people in need. And she gave me an example of someone that was there for her when she was having a difficult time. One day when she was at the transitional house, she was having a really, really bad day. She was trying to find a job, nothing was coming through. She had a really bad argument with someone. She was frustrated, nothing was going to plan. She wanted to quit, she wanted to leave. So she contacted her counselor, who was an André House volunteer, but he was at his regular job. But he contacted someone that wasn't working that day to come in and cover for him, so that he could go and help Debbie. This is what Debbie meant when she said she wanted to be there for people in need. Volunteering can be a lot of work, but it also can be very rewarding. I know many of you are very involved with volunteering to help people in need. Jenny Cass, for example, has dedicated herself to helping children in Honduras. If the André House interests you and you want to find out more about it, please talk to me after the meeting. The next time we are going to the André House is on Sunday, June 25th. The last I looked, there are 4 slots still available. If you go and you get assigned the pit, I will swap jobs for you. I am giving you a free pit pass. Did I ever serve Debbie Shane at the André House? I'm not sure. But the next time you are volunteering to help people in need, and you ask yourself, am I really helping these people? Or am I making them more dependent on the assistance they receive? Instead, ask yourself, what if I missed out on the opportunity to help someone that would help so many others? Mr. Toastmaster.